Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave with a tool tip. It's a tool tip, and I'm going to recommend a specific tool for your shop, but I'm recommending the category more than the tool. What could I be referring to? Well, I will start this tool tip by explicating to you that there are a handful of tools that are important enough to my process that even having them like 10 feet away is too far away, and I keep them right here close to the workbench. Among those things are like some good sharp chisels. Those are always nearby. My planes are down there. Not that I use them that often, but they're protected inside that case. I keep a Dremel here. I keep a rotary tool magnetized onto the bench because I use it so frequently for small adjustments. But the tool I'm here to talk about today, the humble blow dryer. This is a tool that every maker should have in their shop. And I don't mean go borrow your partner's blow dryer, because they won't be happy with the paint spatter. And blow dryers are relatively inexpensive. This version is the Conair Yellow Bird. And this is, look, I will include a link to this. It's $60 on Amazon. That's more than you should spend on a blow dryer. But I love this blow dryer. I love this blow dryer because it says to me quintessentially blow dryer. In my head, there's a visual dictionary of objects, and where the page for blow dryer, this is the blow dryer. So I love these. I bought a bunch of these a few years ago when Michael Stevens and I went out on tour. We actually made a hovercraft using only these, and it worked great. We used 10 of these, and we pulled the heating elements out of it. We didn't need a hot hovercraft, and I kept a couple for shop use here. Why should you have a blow dryer? Well, you got to dry stuff, more than just your hair. That is one thing. One thing is that it is ideal for drying things, very specifically stuff that you're painting on. And I have frequently described, I think, the image of working at Industrial Light and Magic and being in the painting department, being in one of the spray booths, painting spaceships. And I'm sitting there with a bunch of the best painters you've ever met: Peggy Raster, Lauren Hillman, Lauren Vogt, Carol Bauman, and we'd be sitting there with airbrushes and brushes and doing our painting and doing our weathering and doing our masking, and between everything using the blow dryer and drying everything off. It allows me to work much more quickly when I'm painting because I get to get stuff to flash off more quickly. Especially if you're in an area where it tends to get humid, paint can take much longer to dry. So having a blow dryer that is handy, that is devoted to your shop, not just one that happens to be in the house, is a really, it's just no maker of any sort should not have one of these in the house, in the shop. And I'm going to show you one other thing that's totally important and amazing that blow dryers can do that you might not have realized. They can make an oven. What? An oven? Yes, an oven. Okay, so here's my use case example. To make this oven, you're going to need an X-Acto blade. That's pretty much it. So, this matters even more now than it did when I was working as a professional model maker, because we now have the advent of 3D printers. And if you want to make nice looking pieces from 3D prints, STL prints, you're going to want to use a lot of primer. You're going to use a lot of paint in order to fill in the gaps between those lines. And here, this is a 3D printed part that I got from a kit a couple of years ago. And my mode with 3D printed parts is to do a sanding on them, then slather them with primer. Literally, like, for a whole project, I might use 3 cans of primer over a couple of days. And what I'll do is I'll put primer on and let it sit for a few hours. And I'll come back and I'll put more primer on and let it sit for a few hours. And then I'll start to sand. And that's when the buildup of the primer. I've lately been experimenting with Bondo's filler primer, which I really like. I like how quickly it dries. It doesn't drip very easily, which is awesome. We'll include a link to that in the comments below. But you're spraying the 3D print and time is of the essence. Well, you're just gonna sit here and do this. You certainly could sit here and dry the piece over and over and over again, but it would be really nice to automate the process, would it not? So I guess you could take a C-stand, like I showed a few weeks ago, a piece of film equipment, clamp this in a Cardellini clamp, and hold the blow dryer in orientation on the object. There's a simpler method. Cardboard box. This is how this works. Cardboard box goes over your object. You cut a hole out. Actually, I'll do it from here. There you can see. Okay. See where this is going? Yeah! That, my friends, so much for the rhetorical flourish. That, my friends, is a quick and dirty shop oven. And this puppy gets hot quickly. And the best part about it getting hot, I don't need to yell over the blow dryer because I'm not actually drying that. It gets hot quickly. It creates an incredibly dry atmosphere in there, but it's not much more than like 140 degrees at the most. I think I could pull out I'm not sure if I have an infrared thermometer right now at handy, but it doesn't get hot enough to melt plastic. It gets plenty hot and dry enough to dry paint very, very quickly. I have built countless cardboard box ovens over the years to work with painted parts. And I did it at ILM if I needed some large thing to dry quickly. There are a few better things you could do than this. It is really, really fabulous. It is one of my go-to painting techniques. And it makes and you can then leave it and go be spraying your other stuff and put it in there. I've certainly also done stuff where I had the blow dryer feeding in the bottom and I had the top weighted down. So there was that, right? That's another mode. You definitely don't want to cover over one of the sides of the blow dryer. That's key. But this is a totally reasonable way to do it as well. And again, your parts will dry like that. It is. I really am looking forward to you trying it out and reporting back in the comments how you felt about the blow dryer oven. Because I've got a $600 lab oven over there on the other side of my mill, and it's fantastic, right? It's got a big interior. I really love it, and it goes up to hundreds of degrees. But I mostly use it for like softening PVC at 150, 170 degrees or drying paint. So I use it at the very low end. I got it for the outside use cases, but this will suffice for most of what I am using it for in those cases. Yeah, so get thee a blow dryer and devote it to the shop. Other tools, other household tools that you should consider having in your shop: an iron, a steam iron, your standard like $18, $15 Walgreens iron. You should have one of those too. It comes up more than you would think. Yeah. Okay, that's my household item tool tip that you didn't maybe necessarily expect. Thank you guys for joining me for this. And I would be curious about other household tools that you utilize in the shop to similarly efficient effects that I might not know about. I will check it out. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this tool tip, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching that video. If you'd like to further support us on Tested, there are many ways you can do so. One is through paid membership, and there are several tiers of that, each with their own set of unique bonuses. You can follow the links below for that, or you can go to our merch store where we are always coming up with brand new products. In honor of the holidays, we've got our Tested Ugly sweater in both black and we have a white one. We have some brand new patches, and this is a particular type that I made a joke about one day, and now it's a reality. You know, merit badges. When you're a Cub Scout or a Boy Scout, you get a merit badge for achieving something. Well, Tested now has demerit badges for when you screw something up, because that's just as important in learning as getting something right. So this is the badge for when you measure something once and have to cut it twice. This is the badge for when you accidentally hook up your electronics wrong and you release the mysterious blue smoke that powers them and they no longer work. And this one here is for when you get your finger caught in the lathe and it almost gets torn off. That might be quite me specific. I hope that never happens to you. These are all designed by Tested's own Jen Schachter, and they are not the only patches we're going to release. In fact, these are just the beginning. If you have ideas for demerit badges that we should release, we'd love to hear them. We also still have our regular complement of posters, and they're all back in stock, including my hand-drawn toolboxes. I love seeing pictures you guys send us of these hanging in your maker spaces and your offices, your man caves, and your sheds around the world. Get to the store, follow the links below, and hey, some of these might make great Christmas presents for the makers in your life. Thanks, you guys. Happy holidays.